1966, I went to work for Life magazine in Los Angeles. And I've been there 2 or 3 days, and there was a closet near my office. And I opened it up, and there were a couple of stacks of magazines. And I noticed the same date on both of them, November 29th, 1963. And I thought that was kind of odd. So I went to the guy in charge of printing and said, what are these magazines? And he said, well, here's the story.
The 63 season, we beat Michigan, Notre Dame, so we became a relevant team. Of course, they picked me out as a quarterback. I was having a good year, and they were pushing for the Heisman, and they were doing a big story on me in Life magazine. I was going to be on the cover. My parents went crazy. They couldn't believe it.
Life magazine was the premier picture photojournalist publication. It was weekly. And unlike today, when you can get on your computer immediately and see pictures, back in 1963, it was very different. If you wanted to see what was going on in the world, you waited for Life magazine.
People often say, oh, do you have an old issue of Life magazine? What's it worth? The answer is probably nothing, because most regular issues of Life were published in the millions. Everybody read Life. And if you appeared on the cover of Life magazine, you made it. I've had a couple of copies of it, and I had a chance to sell one of them. I decided to keep this one in particular because this little sleeve here is extremely rare.
The original version didn't even have this green sidebar, where you see the inside stories being listed.
It was a nice cover. They called me Houdini of the backfield, and they spent a lot of time. I mean, I went all over the academy for a day with the Life magazine's people.
And this is the remainder of the article. As you can see, this is typical of Life. Photo, 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 and small amount of reading caption. And that's why it was so popular, because you didn't have to read it.
The November 29th issue was essentially put together and completed by Friday, November 22nd, 1963.
It's, I mean, it's like it happened yesterday.
Kennedy was shot while the magazine was still on the presses. There were 300,000 copies already printed, but had not been published, had not been circulated at all. As the premier photojournalistic magazine in America, if you have the ability of putting out a story where people are going to see exclusive photos of the assassination of their president, that's the essence of journalism. That's what scoops are all about.
So they stopped any shipping, pulled the magazines back, and ripped the covers off, put new edit in the middle, and you could staple it again, and it truly was hot off the presses.
The mechanical process of putting a new issue together was so tedious and clunky that it took forever. It's not like working at a keyboard these days. They were still able to get that issue on the street on Monday, November 25th. That turned out to be the day of President Kennedy's funeral. This was the computer screen of 1963, right here. Life's logo was always in color, and it was red, but this issue, of course, was black. There are 37 pages about the Kennedy assassination that were put together in 2 days is still astonishing to anyone who's been in any kind of print media work.
Some of the copy is different. Some of the articles stay the same. The advertisements are all the same because they had printed 300,000 sets of ads. So to save money, they reconstituted the magazine and the ads. But the Staubach article and the photograph never got published again. But some enterprising people saved a couple of the magazines.
Life magazine staff took it out there to talk about, here's what this magazine did to maintain its importance to the consumer. This is a letter dated April 21, 1965, to a woman who worked for Leo Burnett Advertising Agency. Probably one of the top 2 or 3 agencies in the country then. They used to have McDonald's, Sears, all the big accounts. Here is this very rare edition of Life, I promised you. Millions were printed but never sent out. This is one of those few that survived that momentous weekend. Kindest personal regards, Dana Freeman. So he would call on the major agencies trying to show how great the magazine is, and here's what they had done. And he was like, oh, come on, I can't imagine that. Well, let me get it for you. Here's the original, and here's the one that everybody got. And Life magazine became even more of a fixture after that.
This magazine is interesting because it actually had blue grease pencil on the front of it. Somebody canceled the magazine so nobody could circulate it or sell it. Of all issues of Life magazine from 1936 forward, the Staubach issue is by far the most collectible and by far the rarest. Maybe there's a dozen or 2 dozen in existence at the present time.
They were able, when they, I guess, told our PR guy, Bud Tallman, that they were changing the cover, he saw to it that I got a few copies, and I've saved them through the years.
When we first opened in 1989, we were just called the 6th floor exhibit. The 6th floor is where the evidence was found the day of the assassination. So what we've done to help people understand this subject is to recreate the sniper's nest, as we call it. See over my right shoulder. We were not intending to be a museum, but people kept dropping off stuff. Things like some of the original cameras that were used in Dealey Plaza just before, during, and after the Kennedy assassination. One of the things I wish we had was the Staubach lost issue. We don't have one. Someday someone will say, I don't need this anymore. I wonder if those folks at the museum want it. Yes, we do.
As magazines go, retail-wise, if one came up on eBay, it would probably sell between $800 and $1,200. It's not a diamond, but it's sort of a freak of publishing. It could have been Will Chamberlain. It could have been anybody, but it just happened to be Roger Staubach. So he goes down in history as the guy that was taken off the magazine when John Kennedy was assassinated.